is Tracy with Inside Pool Magazine. They call me the diva. And Nick's asleep, apparently.
Sorry, I'm Nicholas DeLeon. They call me Nikon Kid. My bad. I just heard some news.
And this is the Gong Show, apparently. Where's our bell? Where's our gong?
I just got some news. It's billiard stuff. So
Well, go ahead and spill, Nick.
Breaking news. Skylar Woolwork had to pull out of the World Pool Championship because of an ice storm in Texas, canceling his flight. He went home from Louisville for the day, while others flew directly to Poland from Derby. What a tough break for Skylar.
Oh my gosh. Well, prayers for Skylar. Hopefully he gets back home to Texas safely. That's tough, but it happens. It's pretty rough over here, Nick. Hopefully you get to Louisiana safely.
So I actually just have my flight canceled today or for tomorrow. I guess there's another storm or wherever in Dallas, so I can't go from Dallas to New Orleans. So I have to fly out Thursday morning instead.
Okay. Well, you be safe out there. Well, we have a surprise for you guys. Nick's going to talk a little bit about his time over at Derby City, but we're going to add a new little twist to this. I met I'm going to say young lady at Derby City while Nick was playing his Banks match. Her name is Sandra Stevens. She has an interesting story. She's one of, from what I gather, Nick, one of 3 professional one-pocket players.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Isn't it? It's very impressive. So I'm going to add Sandra onto the chat, and then we'll go from there. I really want to dig into how Nick felt during his new adventure. This is his first time playing in all 3 events. And personally, I'm very proud of my co-host. He did very well.
Yeah, other than drawing some champions, yeah, for sure.
Well, let me go ahead and add Sandra to the chat, guys.
All right, let's go.
Welcome, Sandra, to the chat.
Thanks for having me.
Hey.
I really appreciate it. Nice meeting you guys at Derby. Totally accidental.
Absolutely, it was. I mean, I just happened to be sitting there doing my thing, videoing Nick, and this beautiful lady walks up and says, "Can I sit next to you?" And I said, "Absolutely."
And we had a nice chat. It was
and
nice
we had a fantastic chat. She fills me in on her being a one-pocket player, and my eyes got wide. I was like, "Oh my God, I found my story."
Yeah, there's not many of us, that's for sure.
No, that's for sure. I know there's a lot of there's a couple women out here that are starting to play more straight pool and one pocket. So
as they should.
Yes, it's a new development. It's a new game. Everybody's loving it. I think it's turning into like the American game instead of it being like bar table 8-ball or 9-ball or whatnot. So
exactly, time to get out of the dark ages. That's what I always say.
Yeah,
where are you originally from? I'm sorry, Nick. I'm talking.
No, go ahead.
Sandra, where are you originally from?
I'm born in Brooklyn, New York, and I moved to New Jersey, Hasbrook Heights, when I was 3 years old, and I lived there pretty much my whole life. Awesome. I just left, and I've been touring the country for a little over a year now.
When did you get started in billiards in general? How old were you?
I actually really started, when I think about it, when my father bought me the toy. It was like a 2x, like a little tiny table that you had when you're a little kid. And that's where I actually learned to like it and play it. But then it wasn't until 1992 where I walked into my first pool room.
And where
was
my home
that? Court.
And
that was Lodi, New Jersey.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember the name of the pool tournament? The pool room, I mean?
Billiards Cafe.
Awesome. Awesome.
So it's still there, but now it's like basically a lot of old men hang out there and play cards. It's not on the level it was when I went there. Definitely, I was in a real pool room. It was a lot of players, a lot of gambling, a lot of one pocket, and that's what they did over there. Okay. But that's not how I started. I started as a 9-ball player because that's what they said I was supposed to do. So I started there, and I left for quite a few years after. It was a very dangerous pool room. I had a very bad experience there. And I left. I got married. And then I came back after 4 years, and all they were doing was playing one pocket. So if I wanted to compete against anybody, I had to learn the game.
Awesome. Do you have anyone in particular that taught you the ins and outs of one pocket?
So I had a lot of people teach me here and there, but my main person was Bill Hendrickson. And I think in 2004, he actually came in 4th place at the Derby, from what I believe. So he was a really strong pool player. I would name him more like a roadie. He would go on the road more than anything than be a tournament player. But he really taught me a lot about the strategy of one pocket, little things like little techniques and what to do when you're in a jam and risk versus reward. And I have to honestly admit that he was the main guy. But I learned from many people over the years, and I learned a lot from onepocket.org. A lot of people are familiar with that website. Yep. I contributed there for many years, and Freddie the Beard and San Jose Dick and Billing Cardona. Yep. They were all contributors there. And they used to have these little things like what they called "What Would You Do's?" And they would have layouts on the table and ask everybody what they would do. And, in the beginning, I was like very defensive of everything I did, and it was never really the right shot. And then I started grasping that I had to look for the most outrageous shot on the table. And that usually was the winning shot.
Yeah, also look at Shane Van Boeing. Does he shoot the right shot every time?
I mean, it depends a lot. I mean, I learned over the years, it depends who you're playing and what kind of style they have. And you kind of adjust. The better the player, you would get a different kind of game than the weaker player. Some people are all about the 8 and out, and some people have to play really, really tight when they're playing a really tough opponent. I mean, you'll see it in the Alex and the Chohan match down in Louisiana that happened in October. I mean, you look at how they play, they weren't taking crazy shots. I mean, they were very calculating in the moves that they made because they know each player is able to run the balls. So, I mean, that is true that the best shot in one pocket is 8 and out because that is the winning move. So when that opportunity comes, they're more than capable. But when you play weaker players, you play a little looser, you shoot to your hole a little more.
Yeah, because of the fact that you know that they're not going to run out or run more balls than you.
Right, exactly. And it also gives you that ability because I think a lot of people know that play one pocket full time, you do lose your stroke a little bit because it goes for many innings without actually pocketing a ball. Yep. So you need to let the stroke out or else you're in trouble. And that happens to me a lot too. I'll trap my opponent, I'll get a good run out, and it's been so long that I shot a ball that it's hard to get in the groove.
Yeah, it's a different mental part of the game.
Absolutely. But it's really important that you do study the game. It's just like chess. There's maneuvers. There's different kinds of plays that consistently come up.
Yeah,
you have to really, excuse me?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you have to consistently look at the stack and see dead balls and caroms. And, it's a detailed game, but I find that it's very creative. There's a shot for almost every level. And that's how you learn. And you got banking, you got kicking, you got playing safe, you got running out. And I think it shows the totality of the sport, really. Yeah, you don't get those things so much in 9-ball that you do in one pocket.
No, correct. Like you're getting more in 9-ball than you ever did with Matchroom switching the break format. But yeah, you don't get a lot of everything because normally with the 1 ball on the spot with the Magic Rack, you're normally, you're running 2 or 3s on everybody.
Right.
So, but that's what I loved about watching Efren when he played one pocket. He already knew like 3 steps, 4 steps ahead where he was going to be putting his opponent. So he took advantage of those early calculations where you don't think that really was a big move. And then 3 or 4 innings later, you're like, oh, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's just like chess.
Yeah, you got Alex too. On another hand, the guy is probably the best all-around player that's ever played the game, in my opinion. And his cue ball and his smart play with one pocket is actually insane. I've watched so many hours of him. Is that he knows when to take that intentional foul. He knows where to just nickel diamond instead of going for the home run. Like it just his knowledge of the game is very, very impressive.
Very. And it's like war. I mean, you're basically maneuvering the balls like soldiers to be in your favor.
Yeah.
So he works towards getting that advantage by putting the balls closer to his pocket. I mean, that's basically, and stopping banking. And he knows what balls are going to be a problem in advance that could hurt him later. So you do have to think many, many steps ahead.
Yep, and look at Efren, taking third in one pocket with over 500 players.
At his age,
it just
70
shows
years
you.
old. It's insane. It's fantastic. Like, I never got to watch him live, and when I knew he was going to be there, like, it was really insane. And not just that he was playing, but even when he was not playing, he was sitting there watching other people, other champions or whatnot, play one pocket. It was just like he was all in.
He is. And he plays. I read an article once that he actually watches poor players, people just banging balls around because he gets to see the reaction of the cue
a long
ball.
time ago, that's why you come up with that. He comes up with all this craziness years ago, is that he said that he would watch amateur players, and with that watching amateur players, when a stupid, crazy shot happens, he tries to mimic it and figure out how it happened and how it did it. And then that's why his brain was so huge and open to different ideas. And we're sitting there, we're like, how in the heck did you think of that?
Right.
It's because he's watching everybody else.
It's like, listen, it's a shot in your arsenal. Every shot, it goes towards you being able to win. The more shots you know, the better the player you can. I mean, as long as you execute it. So
yes.
That's important. I mean,
Agreed.
It is an accumulation of shots that are in your database. So that's why these videos are good, and watching people is good. And I watch a lot of players more, for me, about fundamentals.
Oh, for sure.
And that's really, for me, like, I like to see how they stroke it. I like to see the backhand. I like to see their stance. It's not just always the shot, because when you're on the shot in a one pocket game, you're usually very creative.
Yeah.
You don't really you have a lot of standard shots, like I mentioned earlier, but you get to be very creative and see things that, don't always come up. So it's a lot of fun for me. I find it very creative, and it's a thinking game.
Oh, for sure it is. All day long it is.
Right. But I learned a lot. I could play banks. I could play any game because I play one pocket. I'm not in the dark. I played Team Straight Pool, and I thank Team Straight Pool because you would have never known me. I mean, a lot of the players knew me because I visited a lot of events, but you would have never known me as like a whole if Eric didn't come with the Triple Crown, which was straight pool, one pocket, and 10 ball. So I never played straight pool in my life, but I still managed to squeak 7th and 8th because my knowledge of just how to play the game got me by. Because you don't find people that play straight pool in my area. And I think that has a lot to do with a lot of things too.
No, I think it's everywhere though, unless it's a big championship like they have with the WPA.
Right.
We don't have
that comes out.
We don't have straight pool very often here where I'm from. In the South, we just don't play it here.
Yeah, I think it's towards the end of the year they have it right before the International Open.
Mm-hmm. Right. They did do a women's straight pool this year. I think Christina.
Yes. Yes, I like that they add the women in there because you're going to throw them in with the guys, or you can separate them. Either way, like now the women get to play as well, like the big events.
Well, I'm really excited about that because I feel like, when you're talking about the international, China and really all of Asia and Europe, they're killing us as a whole, especially women's, because we don't really play other games of skill. We're like almost dumbed down.
But
to
it's not just
10 ball.
Yeah, it's just not that. It's just that the overseas players will always be a step or two ahead of us, always. Unless
they also get trainers and facilities.
Correct, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like with that being over the thing is that they have those trainers access. They have those boot camps. They have they go to school and then they 8 hours afterwards, and they do 8 hours of just jumping. They do 8 hours of just kicking. They do 8 hours of just breaking. That's all they do during the week. It's like they have a set schedule, and they're so much more determined and focused to doing that, where we throw out balls, or a majority of the U.S. throws out balls, and we say we're practicing, but we're not practicing. We're not
Right.
practicing like the Europeans and the Japan and China because they have all those boot camps and they have all that. But it just, we can't get everybody to come together here. Plus, all their hometown's government supports it 100% as well.
Yes, we have no government support.
No.
None.
And I'm really surprised at that, honestly, because we like to excel in everything in this country, and to put us kind of like down on the side and shoo us over really surprises me. But we do, considering we have all this against us, we really do have strong players that come out of this country.
Yes.
Even though we're left alone, we pay for everything by ourselves. We sponsor ourselves. We train ourselves. We seek out the knowledge by ourselves. And look, they all come here. They all come here from overseas to play.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
look at, like, because of the money as well. But look at, like, I got home, was it 2 days ago? My wife and I put up a fence for our dogs within a day and a half. And then that night, I was putting in 6 hours of practice because I'm heading back out. Like, it's a nonstop thing. And it's like, when you put in those hours, it's not that I'm just throwing out balls. Like, I'm doing what I learned over this last year of asking FSR questions, David questions, Shaw, Skylar, Oscar, Tyler. Like, I got information. I asked stupid questions because I wanted to know what they do and what they always do. And it's very crazy when you ask the U.S. players something and then you ask the overseas players something. It's more in depth, and it's like, we do this and this every day, and then we get a third player and we do a stop clock and all. I mean, they go full in depth of everything that they're working on with
They're
each
so
other.
structured.
Yes,
They're so
and then with us, we're so separated that we don't want to help each other like all the Europeans. Like, when Ocean's playing, you got Mario, you got David, you got FSR sitting there watching them. Same with the Filipinos. You have Dennis Ricola who came to Worlds. All the Filipinos were there watching them. Like, it's just like they all stick together regardless if they're overseas or if they're in the United States. Like, it's crazy.
Right, and they're all very friendly with each other and respect
Yes, they
each
are.
other.
Yes,
We don't have that a lot amongst our players. We have a big ego in this country, and I think
that's shocking considering the entire country can't get along.
Well, that's right. But we're a very, what I love about pool, and a lot of people don't talk about, is how eclectic of a group we are in this country. We're all shapes, sizes, colors, nationalities, sexual, what's the word I want to use?
Diverse.
Preferences. Yeah, diverse. We're diverse in sexuality. We all are very, I call it the land of the misfits. I say it's the land of the misfits. We let everybody in, whether they play, watch on the side, bet on us. We're so inclusive, and yet our tour is all over the place. Like, now the pool room I hung out with was heavily actually a mafia hangout. It was a well-known mafia hangout, and a lot of different families like hung out there because they had managed to put their egos aside and work to make everything cohesive. So everybody made money and everybody got along, and there was no violence anymore. And we can't even do that in pool. We can't get the major players to get together and say, hey, how can we make money for our players, our rooms, and us, and structure everything in such a way that it's actually makes sense. I mean, I don't blame kind of our government for not helping us because we're all over the place. We don't have any direction. We need like the Gordon Ramsay of sports to come and slap us around a little bit to say, hey, put this aside just because you're not happy with, say, the Fargo rating. I hear people complaining about the Fargo rating. Let's work together to get some sort of system that we can all abide by. It's different here. It's different there. It's different in California. It's different in New York. So for me, traveling the country, I found like I missed so many tournaments because I just didn't know they existed. Instead of us having structured tournaments around the country where we can all travel as a group and save on housing, since we do pay it out of our own pocket. And that doesn't exist either. So like I'd be in Tennessee. I didn't know there was tournaments in Tennessee, or even 2 hours away in Kentucky. There's not like one set place where we can grab a tour together and just go around and play the game. And that way billiard halls make money. We make money. The streamers make money. And that's not how it is. It's one here, one there. Or some people want to play soft tournaments. They don't want to go to a tournament with 20 pros in it because they know it's going to be hard for them to win.
Nick, do you agree with that assessment? On your end, on the male's
yeah, I
end?
just get somebody out there that is tech savvy and also that has a lot of money that can put together a site that they can communicate
And a lot of time.
And no,
Yeah.
true. When you get it together right now, it's going to be a lot of time. But when you have people have certain logins and they're running a tournament, they can easily jump in this calendar, whether they have 5 on one day, on one weekend, or whatever it is. But you can at least jump in and you can put in the idea, go, okay, hey, I'm running a $650 and under, $500 entry fee, blah, 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 boom. And then you can click on a link to go get the flyer so you know where it's at and everything, right? I think that would be awesome for us because just like she said, if I'm in Kentucky and I don't have, for instance, the Kentucky Facebook group, right?
Right.
How am I going to know that there was an event that weekend when I was visiting family or I was just out there on vacation? I could have easily went to a pool hall and played some pool. Right. And just known places of like where everything's at. Right now, it's bigger than it's ever been, in my opinion, for pool. With pool halls adding money, with National doing everything, Predator doing everything. Everybody is doing something, and it's awesome. It's just now it's like overlapping, which you're going to get because there's not 8 weekends in a month. So I feel that if they had this calendar now, people could pick and choose what they want to do instead of going strictly to Predator, strictly to Matchroom. If they want to play the lower events, then somebody could have that calendar and you could just go to the site and you can look at that month or 2 months or 3 months in advance and find out what's going on. And then you can book your flights. You can save money there. You can save money on hotels, Airbnbs. You can room with people. Like
that's right.
It's out there to do something with. It's just that it's just going to take a lot of time to get it together because you do need each pool room or each TD to have their own login and password.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Facebook has helped a lot.
It has.
100%.
Yeah, but if Facebook leaves, we're in trouble because we all get our information from Facebook.
Yeah, you can't put that much stuff on Twitter.
You can only put so much on Facebook, and you can only have so many friends. And Facebook limits to you to how many people you see.
I appreciate all the groups.
And you don't even see all that. You don't even see all your friends' posts anymore. Like they're limiting.
Crazy, yes.
Right. So I feel like we're the generation, our age group right here that's been playing 20, 30 years, whatever we've been playing. We're the ones that are going to set the stage for the next group. Like Efren changed the game as far as the game is played. And we're going to have to change the way the game is produced structured so that, the Savannah Easton, a great young female player, is going to be able to really capitalize. I mean, I don't blame the players for going to tournaments with weaker players involved, like not going to these really strong tournaments.
You got to
make a living. Yes,
but
they got to make a living.
Also, Savannah, and hats off to her parents as well for taking her to all these major big events, knowing that her odds of doing anything is low. But for the future is what they're looking at. They're looking at the bigger picture. Exactly. If you don't get her in the box right now up against the champions like Kelly Fisher when she played out in Puerto Rico, if she never had those opportunities, she's never going to learn until she just gets hit, but it'll be too far ahead. Right. So it's great that they're doing it now because you can see her progression, that she's just jumping and jumping and jumping. And
it helps that she has her parents to support her, though.
Yes.
Because my parents did not support me at all. I mean, they hated it every step of the way.
Mine too.
Yeah, I had to hide my car behind the pool room so they wouldn't see me be there. They really did. I got punished so many times. I got, grounded. They took my car away. They took my credit cards away. Yeah. So
I'm gonna get grounded now.
But I love the whole vibe of it. I don't get to play as much as I wish I could because I do support myself. I have to live.
Right.
I don't have anybody taking care of me.
That's the US. Where if you're overseas, you would be getting, if you did well in a tournament, you placed top 3, let's just for instance. Terminator and who's the other older
Nick,
player?
your Alzheimer's is showing.
I'm sorry, but Terminator and there's another one out there that's about his age. Anyways, he won an 8-ball tournament, and then Niels won a 10-ball tournament out there. And by winning or being in the top 3, their government takes care of them. As in, now since you represented us really well, they take care of for a year their entry fees, their hotels, and their flights wherever they want to go for a year. They're fully covered.
Right.
Anything they make after that is just profit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so like them doing good in their world games over there is what their government is supporting. Like, you do well, we're going to take care of you.
Well, if we did well, we can have sponsorships. We're not out there enough that we can get those kinds of big names. Like if we did it that way, where our government was taking care of us for the year, and maybe we weren't going to make a lot of money, but you make money on sponsorships, and those would kick up, because you really are the elite at that point. You really are. Your government is supporting you. I hear they're making mechanisms to keep your stroke in line and to strengthen the muscles of your stroke. I mean, we have none of that. And we're wild. We're a wild group, Americans. If you see the Europeans come and the Filipinos come, they're very calm. They have a very steady mentality. I actually, like, when matches come up, the mentality is what I look at before I look at the ability. You know, certain people, just like Alex Pagulayan, is a very steady thinking, feeling player.
100% in. You can see it on their face.
Absolutely.
100%.
And the way he even treats it, like, you know, Alex is a very humble guy. He hates saying I'm the best. He'll always say I'm not the best. But when you look at his totality about how he treats his fans, how he treats his opponents, how he involves his opponents, how he examines his game, how he's critical of his game, where he makes improvements. I mean, that's what makes him, to me, I mean, he's my favorite player, honestly.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, in my generation, he's my favorite.
Did you watch the One Pocket with Efren and Alex?
I didn't watch them. I watched Efren and Tony.
Okay,
go ahead.
So check this out. When they were announcing them, they said that there's like 36 banners up there, right? For faces wise. And combined with Alex and Efren, they have 19 of them up there.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely insane.
That shows you what
really
kind
happy
of
Tony won. That's why I was happy Tony won.
Right,
really was.
Congratulations to Tony Chohan. Congratulations.
That's right. Efren had a lot. I felt like Efren had a lot. Somebody said to me, well, he's retiring next year. I said, he said that 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
He's always retiring. He says that to everybody to, like, you know, think he's out of the picture, but he's not. But you know what made me happy? That he was a 68-year-old man. When Team Straight Pool did the One Pocket tournament, Liz Taylor, who is an older woman, and she knocks her age all the time, but I feel like, you know what, Liz, you can be there. Efren was 68. She still wins championships. She's beat me in One Pocket because she pockets so good. And I don't get to pocket and play as much as she does. But she can learn the game and still come out on top. And honestly, One Pocket for me is the game that a woman can be on that banner. A woman can make that banner in One Pocket because you're not doing crazy jumping. You're not drawing the ball two times up and down the table. If you know the moves, you know the banks, you can be there with the men. We can be on the banner. So for me, I'm here mostly to promote. I'd like to see more women play it. I'd like to see them advance the sport, America to advance the sport, so that, you know, we're on an even keel with the men. Why don't they feel we could play? We're just as intelligent as they are. We should be able to come out there and be on that banner too one day. I'd like to be alive to see that. I really would.
Sandra, do you have an opinion on why there were no women entered into the One Pocket event in Derby City? No, I mean, I understand why you weren't.
I had a lot of going on. I think that it's because, you know, you're paying for a lot, and then it's a very rare, it's a slim chance you're going to get in the money. I mean, I don't know. First of all, when you're a woman that plays One Pocket, this is my experience. I think it's a couple of the other girls' experience. They don't want anybody to know. They don't want us to know, because they gamble, and they'll be like, hey, play her. And you come out of nowhere. I mean, I came out because people don't want to gamble with me. So I don't mind doing that. But other women that other people don't know play it. They make a lot of money on the side playing the game. So for me, that was actually advice from people. Don't tell anybody you play, you know, because it is so rare that a woman plays it that, you know, it's kind of like a little arsenal there for some people to bet on you. But people don't want to play me. I went to Buffalo's in October for the match. Nobody would play me. I had people who would like to back me, but if you don't find someone for me to play, then you can't back me. So, and I think that's what it is. Most of the women are undercover. They don't really let it out that they do play the game.
Nick, how do you feel about that? How would you feel playing against a woman at Derby City in one pocket?
I don't know. The pockets are the same size. The balls are the same size, and we have the rack, and we have a pool cue. So does it really matter what the gender is?
Awesome. I love that answer.
It really doesn't matter. That's why I said we need to come out, because we can have a girl on that banner at Derby City one day. It doesn't require you to be like Earl Strickland to be there. You just have to study the game. There's books, Winning One Pocket and Shots, Moves, and Strategies that give you a lot of ideas. I think Tom Worth just published a book. If you study banking, we could be there. We can compete with them. But I think right now it's not. Once we get a woman's one pocket, like Eric is trying to do the straight pull in the woman's one pocket. Once we get that out there, I think we'll see more women playing in the next 10 years. I wanted to play. I just had a whole bunch of situations happen and I couldn't get in there. But just for the experience to say I played Derby City.
I think the closest person right now as a woman player that would have a chance to even be considered or even have a chance to make the banner is Simon Chin from China. She's like an 830 Fargo. She played Shane Van Boeing 4 sets and they broke even. That's how strong she plays.
No, I've seen some of these girls. My God.
And I'm telling you, I go, if she can get out of China and come out and play, I have a feeling that a lot of the world will be worried when she comes out. Because that's what's coming from Shane's mouth is that if she was here, a lot of players would be getting tortured.
And I don't know why she's not. I guess
because of the restrictions. There was restrictions because of the whole COVID and all that craziness.
Oh, okay. They're still dealing with that, huh? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. No, I eventually she will be able to come out. I've seen her. Really an amazing player, and I'd like to see more of them. And I'd like to see more American women play it. I like to see the guys for once that do, because let's face it, it's a man's sport.
Well,
we're always surrounded by them. So they're the ones that are influencing us of what to play and how to play it.
Eric Nelson just made a post saying that he said, we have 70 plus ladies practicing and playing 14-1 and one pocket on TSP.
Right.
And Eric Nelson is one of her sponsors, one of Sandra's
sponsors. And he recommended,
sponsors.
Because it's a requirement that you have to play it. But we had a tournament and it was during the COVID time. So a lot of players couldn't come out, but we wanted to come out. And I really commended a lot of these pros that were on the Women's Pro Tour that came and gave it a shot and went out of their comfort zone to play it. I mean, Monica Webb, Joanne Mason Parker, Janet Otwell, Tina Larson. I could go on, but they knew they didn't know the game very well, but they said, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. I want to be better at this game. And I hope everybody has that kind of mentality.
Right.
Eric Nelson just posted that we had a lady in the Derby. Her name was Tracy Cantrell. She played in all the events, even the
she did. I didn't know she played all the events.
That's one of those things we don't see very often.
We also had
not a lot of work.
We also had
they don't have a board there. I was looking for it. They don't have a board where you could see who's in it and where they are and who won.
It's all on the online bracket.
Yeah, but they should have been one there so we could see that are there.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Nick?
So we also had I don't know if you know her, but Sakura from Japan hangs out with Blaine and Oi. She played in the one pocket. I actually got to draw her second round, and as I was playing her, I actually was teaching her at the same time against me throughout the games because,
I do that too.
So because she had no idea what she was doing and she's learning, she jumped in just to learn. And I mean, she's such a really humble lady and really nice and sweet and everything. So instead of me beating her 3-0, I was like, hey, do this and put me here. And then when she did it and the results happened, she was like, oh, like a light bulb went off. Yeah.
Well, that's why a lot of the girls, if they do play it, I think Jeanette Lee was playing it. This is something I heard. I don't know if it's true, but she did play one pocket and somebody was coaching her. So, because she can pocket balls, she knows what she's doing, and they'd let her know, and they would coach her. I do the same thing when I play people. I'll say, you know what, maybe you should have thought of that, or think of this, because when you love the game, you want to see it played correctly.
Fantastic.
So that's funny when you're trying to teach your opponent. But
Right.
I love the game, and I just like to see people play it. I want to see more people play it. But listen, we all know on the underground, one pocket's the game. When there's betting involved in pool rooms, it usually
absolutely.
relates
Always
to
one pocket.
Always.
Always one pocket.
I mean, do you want to play 9-ball, run 8 balls, hang the 9 and lose? None of them want to lose money that way anymore.
Absolutely.
Or somebody that breaks and runs 13 or 12 racks on you, whatever. One pocket, you got to know how to move. You got to know how to bank. You got to know how to play safe. You got to know how to pocket. It's not just cut and dry, So they don't want to lose money in a rotation game.
If I'm not badly mistaken, didn't Federer just pick up one pocket maybe 2 years ago?
Yes, he just picked up that. But this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand with Federer. Now, Shane was winning everything. Jason Shaw was winning everything. Filler was winning everything, and then FSR. Federer does something that, especially in one pocket, that nobody other player does, in my opinion. That every player that he has played, normally we're just out. We want to win. Forget about it. It's a race of 3. We need to get to 3 before that guy gets 3, right? And be done. And then we move on to our next match. Federer is a full-on sponge. So what he's doing, he's beating you and he's learning from you. Like it's like both of his side of his brain is working at once. And it's like every match he plays, whether it was with Chip, whether it's playing Filler, whether it's playing Shaw, one pocket, or Roberto, whatever it is, I thought his best opponent was Chip. Because Chip plays I can't even pronounce the word. Yes.
Meticulous. He's very meticulous when he plays one pocket. Yes.
And he sends balls down table. He plays the strategy very, very well. And that's what he's really good at. And I love that when Federer plays anybody, and especially him was his best opponent, that he learned so much from that match. And he's like, I'm learning and I'm beating you. And then he plays the tournament. I'm learning and I'm beating you. It's just that the guy is learning every time he plays one pocket, where a lot of us are like, we're in it just to win it. However, we have to do. We have to run 8 or we run 3 and we put you in a stack. But he's going so much more in depth. He's remembering. He's learning.
He watches a lot of videos, I hear. And that's very important too. Yes. The videos are super important. We can't all get to these events. But he's also super creative, and he has to be able to execute. And Fedor has a very good pre-shot routine.
Oh, of course, always, yes.
And he commits to the shot, and he makes it. Yes. And making and committing to the shot are very important.
Yeah,
it's no surprise he won those 2 events.
The last person to win the all-around at Derby was Alex Pagulayan.
But he is all-around a great player.
Yes. No, correct. And he just did it this year, back to back.
You see a lot of one pocket players don't do so good in 9-ball, or they won't do so good they'll do good in banks, but they won't do so good in 9-ball, because once you play one pocket, you really do love the game so much. It's almost what you stick to all the time. But Alex is still strong in 9-ball. I think he was 3rd in Derby City because it became very late. We all know these players played 24, 25 hours.
Yeah, horrible.
All day, which was a horrible thing. I'm a believer that it should be ending at 9, 10 o'clock, the latest.
I'm letting you know right now, the reason why Federer won, I think, is because he trained so well off the table and not just on the table.
Right.
And that stamina and that moment of like push, he has that because he trains every day, not just on the table, but off the table. Like it's
right. He plays a lot of people. He's out of Rail Yard Billiards now in Louisville.
Yep.
So he's very good with the pool room over there, playing other people and practicing there. He speaks to people. I didn't realize he spoke such good English.
He does.
Yes, he does.
He speaks great English because he's a very quiet boy. I call him a boy because he's old enough to be my son.
Right, he's old enough to be my child. So.
Right, but he's a very quiet boy, but he's definitely involved and he does his part. And for me, that's really important for these players to do their part. Some players do not want to do their part. They come, they win, they grab the money, they leave. I don't like that. You are the face of this sport. You're almost obligated, in my opinion, to support the pool rooms you're playing out of, the fans that support you, because really, let's face it, only it's mostly pool players that are your fans.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't get outside fans as much.
No, not yet, but it's all coming. I have a feeling
we're working on it. That's
4
for
or 5
sure.
years, it's going to come strong, and it's going to be great for all those junior players.
That's right. And we need to get everybody involved. Everybody needs to be involved.
Yeah.
Every part of it has to be involved. Because we all fell in love with different aspects of this game.
Yep.
It wasn't just one-sided.
No, it wasn't.
Right.
Let's move on to the mix. Sandra, I would love your opinion on how the guys were playing banks in one pocket simultaneously. Do you feel as a female player that would mess with you slightly? And then we'll ask Nick how he felt.
I mean, it would be easier for the players if they kind of branched it out, but then at the same time, the way that they mixed it, they're all involved. They go to all the events. Because I know if you just had the one pocket on this whatever, then they were only going to play that and leave.
Right.
I think by mixing it, that's how they keep everybody there and they keep the action going because we know they have the room upstairs. So, I mean, if they split it up, I don't know if you would have the same out turn of events.
What about
having them? They'll say, "Okay, I'll play."
What I was meaning was them falling into one another. Each event kept melting into each other.
We definitely need better. We definitely need better organization.
But that's Derby, though.
It is.
Derby has always been like that, and it's the only event of the year that is like that. And
it's 10. What is it? It's 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah, 10 days.
Right. And we had more players this year than ever.
Absolutely.
This is only my second Derby that I went to. I went last year. But I don't think last year they went into a 24-hour night in the final.
No,
I mean, how could you determine who the best player is if you're up 24 hours?
Right. So Nick,
and you know what? That also brings up shot clock. Why is there not a shot clock?
Absolutely.
Nick, so the reason why they don't have a shot clock and the reason why they have the Derby rule is because they don't have enough refs that they could pay to sit at every table and do a shot clock. On top of it, they have this rule. If your balls are close or your balls are frozen, whatever, I don't know exactly what the rule is, but if your ball's frozen, normally you can't push through it, right?
Right.
Well, with them not getting a ref to every table or running upstairs, running downstairs, whatever, that if they're frozen, as long as you're at a 45-degree angle, you can shoot right through the ball.
Right.
And that's just a Derby rule, and that's because it speeds up the play instead of waiting for somebody to come over. But the transition to playing one pocket match and going into banks, I don't think there's anything different about it. Is that actually I think the one pocket will help your banks because now you're going to play safe. Normally then you go for a flyer like two-reeler. Now you're playing a different strategy because you're going back and forth. But if you were going from one pocket to 9-ball, I think it would throw you off a little bit. Right. So of what I experienced of playing somebody a set of one pocket and then going to rotation, it takes you a while to kind of do the transmission over.
But that shows who's the better player, though. It's all about adapting. You know, tournaments for me I like gambling more than tournaments, believe it or not. First of all, I can pick my opponent. I can't pick my opponent in a tournament. Some opponents I don't like as people. I would never be on the table with them. When I gamble, I can pick who I want to play with. But there's definitely a different system with tournaments about how you eat. When you eat matters.
Yep.
How late you stay up. So it's all that is a totality of who's a better player at the end. That's why I feel like the shot clock is important because that also will determine who is a stronger player with that. I get it that they don't, but that's why we're not taken seriously. We don't treat it seriously ourselves either. I know we can't afford refs, but a pro sport should have refs. I mean, the bottom line. I mean, if you're going to any of these massive tournaments, there's a ref there. And I think certain leagues have refs now on every table. Or at least you could call a ref.
Nick, how many people were in the one pocket event?
500 plus, and then there was 500 in the 9-ball, and there was 495 players in the banks, the most they've ever had.
And how many tables were occupied in each time?
All the tables.
So what is it, 35 tables?
Yeah, sometimes they double book times. Like there was a time that I had to play at 4:30. I went up there and there was a 2-1 when they just started. I go back downstairs. They're like, "Oh, you don't play until 11:30 tomorrow." I mean, it's going to happen. We get it because you're at the max of the max.
Yeah,
but now I think they need to put a cap on it because I don't think the players are going to come back wanting to play from being up at 6 a.m. because some people have to take a while to wake up for their 9 a.m. match, and then you're playing all the way through until 9 a.m. the next day, like Federer did.
Right.
Nobody's going to
He
want
was
to
literally asleep.
But they also have the Bigfoot challenge. They have the ring game.
Correct. Yes.
That all is included in the time.
Of course.
But listen, I was telling Tracy earlier, I know Pat and I know Al a very long time. It's such a production to put together, to put this all together for you, the lights, the amount of people. I don't think people realize how many people are involved in setting this all up. And it's trial and error. Every year you learn something. So I think Nick is right. You do have to cap it at some point.
I think that's what they're going to have to go for, whether it's 300, 450, whatever they do, they need to cap it now because I guarantee you the players, I mean, I know when they do the podcast with everybody else and they start talking to players, it's going to be the main thing is that we don't want to sit here and wait all day and like you're waiting and then you're like, okay, TBA is at 2:30. Oh, no, we changed it to 6:30. Well, we're sitting around doing like absolutely nothing. We could be sleeping. We could do, everything has to be timed of whatever you possibly can. Right. I understand that you got
and
the
it's
max
double
players.
Elimination.
Of course.
And it's also one pocket. You can have games that last 2 hours.
Correct. And I'm just saying, like, in general, I understand that everybody was at their max limit of entry fees. I get it. We've never had anything like it. And now this is what happened. Now you have to fix it for next year and going forward. If you don't,
and I don't know if the casino was too cooperative either. I don't know if the casino was too cooperative. I know they did.
No, because I work for casinos, and whenever you have an event, you have a certain amount of time to get in and set up and get out and end it the day. Anything extra, you get charged for that extra day or whatever, the extra time or whatever. Because now, if they have another event coming in, now you're using that up, so they have to push that back. So it's a hassle. So I understand the rush of getting it done and not waiting for the whole another day.
They didn't even block enough rooms for you guys. A lot of people went outside the hotel. They couldn't get a room.
Yep.
So I mean, and honestly, I talked to one of the bartenders. She couldn't wait for the group to leave.
Yeah.
So
they were over us, really.
Yeah.
They really were. So I don't know if that's us or them or what the deal is. I'm not behind the scenes.
But it happens every year, so their staff should know that it's going to get pretty busy with fans and players.
Right.
I mean, one of my complaints, which I also got from a couple of players, were the options for food. By the time we get around to eating, there's nothing
4 restaurants, only 2 are open. Yeah.
I mean, you can't go to Gordon Ramsay's place because not everybody has that kind of money. You couldn't get a table either unless you dupe the guy.
Yeah, we drove off property
Me too.
Several times to go eat.
I like the Pho place, and that was only open like twice when I was there.
Yeah,
it was closed most of the time.
Yeah, Nick paid $12 for 2 egg rolls.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I know.
I did. I was like, I needed something in my system that wasn't the same thing I was eating.
Right. But then they water down the liquor, and like you have a drink, and it's like not even a drink. So. I mean, is it an ideal? Listen, I travel to a lot of casinos. It's not my favorite, but the event is very fun.
It's a fun event. I mean, if you're willing and you have the stamina, it's a fun event. No, I like my sleep.
It's my first time playing all 3 events. I played just the 9-ball last year. If I go back and play, I'll probably just do banks, take a rest in one pocket, and get ready for 9-ball. Because of going through all that spurt and seeing what Federer had to deal with and some of the other top professionals and the waiting and all that stuff, like I like it's so crazy, especially if you're upstairs and you're in action. You're like timing your match, going, okay, I have a match at 9 a.m. I have to at least get in bed by 1 a.m. Like it just, it's like it's so much that everybody would rather be in action than playing the tournament. It's just. And then with this happening and watching Federer and Shane and Alex play until 6,
I hope they had rooms at the hotel, because honestly, if they didn't, then they should get like almost like a seated situation where they guaranteed top whatever players from last year.
So what happens?
Get a hotel room so they can nap.
If a player wins the all around, like for instance, Efren, he's won it multiple times.
Right.
Once you win the all around, I believe, or a Derby championship, it's one or the other, that you get free entry fees for life and free hotel for life.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, that's good.
Well, that helps.
So it
That
helps,
does.
but also it doesn't help when they do take as many entry fees as possible, and then
Right.
now players are playing until 9 in the morning. So they have to
Right.
fix that next year.
From the
Cap it.
from the day before. I mean, it's
Correct.
crazy.
And I even told players that I go, if you're staying off property because you couldn't get a hotel, I
Like
go,
you
book it
did.
now. Worst case scenario, 48 hours before the event, you can cancel. Like you book it now. They're not charging your card. They're just holding the
room. Right.
Correct.
That's all I did. They held the
Or
room.
I don't know if
for
they
me.
do have a lounge for them to relax in, but that's
They
Because
don't.
you have the dates. Derby
Right.
has the dates for the next 3 years on their website. So you can book your hotel, and if you choose not to go, say come December, you can cancel it and not be charged.
Right.
Well, the only time they accept the actual hotel rooms with the discounted rate is between like a certain time to another certain time. And I made sure that when I booked my room, I booked it the moment that they told me that they were giving us the discount, which was it was around $122 a night plus tax.
I think you
It was
can
like
cancel
150.
48 hours in advance.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
that's what
can.
I'm saying. Is that
you only
so
got
people are
48
complaining
hours.
that there was no hotels. I'm like, you guys know that
I don't
it's
want to
happening
really judge
every
it because
year.
I don't really know much about how they put this together. I just know it's a lot of work.
Oh, of course.
And they have
definitely
a
is.
lot of people. They work all year round, and I don't want to stomp anybody because you know what?
Absolutely not. I'm not saying
Right.
anything
No,
bad
I'm
No,
not
about
I
saying
just
anything
I
anybody.
don't know
negative.
anything about it, but all I know is none of those players, most of all those players, learn from AccuStats and from these videos on how to be better pool players. So it may not be perfect, but we learn from them just from watching them. And
Yep.
I mean, I appreciate them doing it. I mean, I don't know all the details. I just know that we shouldn't be there for 24 hours playing. That's too late.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy. It's not fair.
But also, they
People
just
work
didn't
hard
know.
to come here.
Yeah, they just didn't know it was going to be.
They
that
had no
big.
clue it was
They
going to
just
get
put
that
the
big.
max entry fees, and that's it. But now they're going to have to cap it because nobody's going to want to. Because I'm pretty sure they'll boycott, or the players will boycott. I'll go. I want to play tomorrow. I don't want to sit here and play all like.
Right.
Right.
I have a question for you, Nick, since you're in on the matchroom events. Smear says, how do you feel about matchroom events, Nick?
I absolutely love them. My first 3 that I went to major.
Uh-oh, what happened?
I don't know. We lost her.
She'll be back.
But I love their matchroom events. They're organized. They're set times. Like there's no BS with it. They get it done, and they know what Emily knows what she's doing. And on top of that, you guys don't get to see this, and I got to see it firsthand at I think the Worlds or the UK Open. They get down to the last 4 players. The night before, they're refelting the table.
Really?
Yes. Emily has it so down to a T that she has everything that she needs from before she even a couple months before the event. She has everything in line of what she's doing, and she does an amazing job. Their whole team does a great job. I absolutely love their events and how they're ran.
I definitely like the production of it when I see it. It's got
It's so
the lighting, the exciting, and we do like some of these like challenge matches. We should be grabbing people off the street. It just looks so much more exciting. You know, sometimes they're empty.
Right.
Like, look, and I don't know if I don't know who was playing. I want to say it was John Mora, and I don't remember. It was at Rail Yard. They had like one of these challenge matches.
Oh yeah,
like 4
Tyler
there.
and
it was
John
Tyler
Moore.
Steyer and John Mora.
No, it was a.
She keeps losing. I think she's
Okay.
losing signal.
But yeah, no, Emily does an amazing job. Like I said, my first one was when I got invited last year to the World Championship, and I was like on cloud 9, and I just was very impressed with how she had everything organized. And that when it got down to 4 players the night before, she refelted the tables. I was like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "She likes everything perfect. Like she has, like that's just how she does things."
Well, it's her reputation as well.
Yeah, of course,
so.
and it's great. It's great that you have something like that. It's just that it just gets bigger and bigger every year. Look at this year. There's so many U.S. events. There's an Asian tour event. Like she's doing so much and bringing in so much money and everything. It's just everything. I'm supporting every event that I can possibly go
They
to.
do professional sports, though. They have a lot of experience doing that too.
Yes.
They have a lot of
do.
equipment, and they have things are available to them that aren't
That we
available
don't
to
have.
us.
Right.
Right. But I feel she might be like the Gordon Ramsay of pool, maybe.
I mean, she's
that's gonna
doing
put
a
it
hell
into
of a
gym.
job. Every year it gets better and better.
Right.
More
It's
events,
always a
more events.
fantastic job. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think she's pretty strict on the dress code that we were in at
She is.
Derby.
She is.
Yeah,
They
we
also
definitely
drug
need a
test during
uniform.
that. They
Yeah,
also drug
right.
test during their tournaments as well.
Yeah, Derby. Yeah, Derby is really relaxed compared to all the other matchroom events.
Well, because I said that's really going to be a problem in the Olympics because a lot of the top players do drugs. So having drug testing is important because we got to keep. There has to be that level of play here so that one day we do become an Olympic sport. It's amazing these sports that I see, and we're not on there.
Cornhole.
So
yeah,
we have such a bad reputation.
And
we
that
really have
slap
such a bad
thing, what
reputation.
is that, Nick?
I don't even want to get into that because I saw another slap thing and I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
It's such a shame.
It is.
It is such a difficult game. I mean, you need to really play it to understand that it can never be mastered. You know, it takes a lot of effort. I mean, you got to hit millions and millions of balls to be able to do it. So to get to that level, and it is an endurance sport. People don't realize like how many tennis players can sit around for 24 hours,
right?
And
doing
not
the same repetitive
right.
thing.
Exactly. So
Nick,
I'd like to see
question
that too.
For you, are all matchroom pockets 4-inch from here on out? Do you know?
I believe all the major matchroom events, World Championship, PRP, is it PSP, PLP? One of the anyways, the doubles, the masters. I think all of those are 4-inch pockets. I don't know if everything else is going to be like the UK Open or the European Open, but once I find out, I will post everything I know I can for you guys.
I think they had the bigger pocket. I mean, small pockets are good for one pocket, but I think they have bigger pockets because they want people to pocket balls. You know, a lot of times, sometimes you don't get a string of anything. You get a lot of
that's why
difficult
Matchroom
things.
went to 4-inch pockets for the Moscone Cup. It's
Right.
supposed to be all their majors are supposed to be 4-inch pockets.
But they're at the top of they're
Yes.
at the top of the top, the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
So, and you know, when you get to that level, maybe it should be. You know, I don't know. Like I'm not playing at that. Like that's something that group, like Shane's, the Jasons.
Yep.
You know, I want to know how they feel about it. I mean, I
love
know for
it.
one pocket that the tighter the better.
Yeah.
Because you can't just run all the balls out. It's not that easy to win. And not only that, you hit the point a certain way, and the whole hell breaks loose.
Yep.
So you got to be really smooth.
Right. It changes the game a little bit, but you have to be sharper on your points of a ball pocketing.
Right. Got to be smooth. What I notice is it got to be smooth. If you see all these people, they're smooth when they play the shot. It almost sounds the same when the tip hits the cue ball on every shot. It's just this particular smooth stroke that they use to slide the ball into the pocket. They're very consistent. You don't see them doing these crazy things, really.
Right.
They don't hit the boards. They don't bang the balls. It's like, they're almost robotic when they're shooting.
Finesse. To me, it reminds me of going, and I know you guys will think I'm insane. It's like me going to a symphony and listening. I feel the music when I go, and when I watch good players play, that's exactly what's going on in my mind. It's almost like an art form when professional players play, and you're on your game and you're executing each shot almost romantically, you know, and it's an amazing sport. And
you got to make love to the balls, is what they told me. You got to make love to them. You can't bang them around. That's some things Sandra, you hear over the years.
I have one question for you before I let you go. Nick has he's got to do a lesson here shortly, so I have a question for you. Do you feel the women are getting the exposure and the tournaments that they need in the United States?
No, there's not enough. There's not enough tournaments. And it's so hard to get around these tournaments at Puerto Rico and, you know.
Right.
You know, I don't think it's enough. I think they need to do more. But there's a lot of local events. You got to go out and find them. It's like a hidden treasure to find them.
So this is the thing: you ladies are limited. If you make top 16 in the ladies professional women's tour, you have to sign a contract. If you're in the top 16 in points, you are no longer able to play in any other ladies events other than.
I don't like that.
Isn't that what April Larson said?
Yes. I'm the same way. I can see it both sides, so I'm not gonna say bad or good about it, but I'm just saying that if you switch the contract, in my opinion, if I had to have the contract and I had to switch it, I would have to say that if you're in the top 16, because I know you're telling all these casinos that all the top women are coming, the pool halls, all the top women are coming, and there might be another event that's 40,000 added women event, and everybody wants to go there because they want to make the money, right?
Right.
Well, instead of limiting what they could do at the top 16, you should put it on there. It's like, if you are in the top 16, you are guaranteed to play in every event. Anything outside of that, have fun, right?
Well, Eric, they wouldn't let them play Eric's event, which
really
boggled me because they don't even play those events. They don't play straight pool. They don't play one pocket. They don't play 10 ball.
Yeah.
So for me, like, all the exposure helps.
Of course.
By crippling them, let them spread their wings and play in events.
No, I agree. And like I
said,
they're doing a great job because the women have events to play in at least once or twice a month. I get it. It's great. But I'm just saying that the top 16, you're just limiting them. They can be out playing more and getting more in the box of playing. But instead, they have to go play with the guys instead.
Right. No, well, we got to advance it. The more that they're out there, the better. The better they play. The more competition they have, the better they play. The better we look. The more chances we'll get a Nike or we'll get a Budweiser or whoever we want to come and sponsor us. We got to be more exposure, the better. Limiting is no good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Sandra, and giving us an insight on the women's view in the billiards industry. We appreciate it, and it's been an honor getting to know you and a pleasure.
Thanks for having me on. I'm sorry, I just started joking.
Okay. Have a good night and be
you
safe.
Too. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Okay, Nick. So what's on the agenda for you? We're going to try to get on a plane on Thursday morning.
I'm going to, what's the name of the event?
It's called Pool Dues. It's called the Cajun Coast Classic with Mr. Jason Romero as the owner of Pool Dues. The Diva actually went to Cajun Coast Classic last year. Jason Romero has an interview with us on one of our podcasts. If you'll check out my Facebook page or Nick's Facebook page, I'll make sure I get that posted for you by Thursday. Will that work?
Yes, I'll fly out Thursday morning. I'm really looking forward to it. My Harry's room is really awesome. All the champions, all the top 100 champions are out in Poland right now, other than Sky. So I might be able to see him this weekend out there at Jason Romero's place. But it's my first time going out there, and I'm really looking forward to it. Roland Garcia is going to be out there, Roberto Gomez, I think Justin Hall. There's a lot of players coming, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to make it this year. I have this junior stuff going on, and they need my full attention. So you give Mr. Romero my best, and I'll make sure I share those flyers and make sure I get the word out. I believe Omega TV is streaming it.
Free stream,
everybody. Free stream. Okay, I have one more thing here for you, Nick. He says, I think there should be more females versus females in the Scotch doubles. I think so.
Yeah, I think it would be great.
I would love to see
have mix. Even have mix where you have, like, this is what I said at the BCA Nationals. I think it would be amazing. If you have 32 pros, right? You put them in a bracket, rank them however you want to do it. And then you have 32 juniors, and you just randomly draw into the pros. Now the juniors are playing Scotch doubles with Alex and Shane and Sky.
I think that would be fantastic.
And they can get the mix of, like, talking to them and interacting with them, and that will build more of their social media on top of it, because not a lot of the players go out and chat with random people at those events, when those events are why we have what we have.
Right. Huge shout out to Eric Nelson from TSP, I believe it's called. He is the one that's heading that Triple Crown, or the one that Sandra had mentioned earlier. I've been kind of going back and forth with Mr. Nelson. He is a huge supporter of my juniors mission, and he has taken on a couple of my juniors. So huge shout out to
That's
Eric
awesome.
Nelson and his group. He's an amazing gentleman. And if you're a female player, get in touch with Eric Nelson and see how you can get on one of those teams. Yeah. You must be able to play one pocket and straight pull to join this little team he's got.
Just start. It's just a new game.
Absolutely. We're all about learning new things and supporting each other. So if you guys ever need anything from Nick or myself, please feel free to reach out. Usually if I'm on location, I'm like focused on what I need to get done and try to get out of there. And if Nick is anywhere in the vicinity, please don't steal his high chews. Speaking of high chews.
Oh my God.
Mr. DeLeon made a massive purchase yesterday. I'm still waiting on what the big secret is, Nick.
Massive purchase. I brought it home, and my wife is like, "Are you sponsored?" So you guys know how much I love high chews, and it's all over everywhere I go, whether it's overseas or it's to another state. My high chews in my bag are being stolen. It's so popular, and when people. And big hats off. I got to meet a really awesome older gentleman named Hank Smith. Really knowledgeable about the game. He's been around it for a long time. And he got to try some when I was in the Omega stream playing some gambling matches. And he's all, "What are these? I've never heard of these." I go, "They're high chews." And he puts it in his mouth within seconds. He's all, "This is like a better Starburst." And it's the absolute truth. It is. It's the only thing that compares to what it is. So I went to my fries here in Avondale, right off of Dizer and I-10. And I walk in, I'm shopping, I'm getting some stuff to cook. And I see this stand. And I'm like, oh my God. I go, I have to have this in my house.
Are you kidding me right now?
So I get one of the managers over, and I'm like, I go, "Lady, you just don't understand." I go, "What do I have to do to get the stand?" And she's like, "Well, it's from one of our venues that we have to have it out, right?"
You didn't pick that up.
I go. So I need this. Like, you guys don't understand. I go, I play professional billiards, and I travel all over the world, internationally, everything. And I go, whenever I go somewhere, everybody knows I have high chews, and they steal them from me, or they come and they're like, "Hey, do you have high chews?" I'm like, "Yeah." Open my bag, and I have like 2 big bags in my pool case.
Did they give you a bulk order of high chews or something?
So I literally told them that I will buy everything that's on that cart or whatever that stand.
The display case.
Yeah, and then they can let me have it. So she's like, "Let me contact my manager." So their manager's explaining to their manager what the scenario is and who I am or whatever. And
you embarrassed Dory in Avondale, Arizona.
No. She wasn't with me, or she would have totally been embarrassed. But I was solo on this, so I'm already thinking, what is my wife going to think when I bring this home? So they go, "If you purchase all of it, they'll let you take the stand." I was like, "Really?" I go, and then of course, me being a smart aleck, I said, "Do I get a bulk order price?" So,
are you telling me you got a deal on high chews?
Yes, I got a deal on high chews. So, guys, I just added this to my pool room. I don't know if you can make the screen bigger.
I'll pull out and let you do what you gotta do.
All right, guys. You guys ready? You guys ready for this? This is how crazy I am. This is a full stand of high shoes. So I brought it home, and my wife is like brushing her teeth or whatever, and I'm trying to get it set up before she comes in because I had to take everything out.
I'm dying.
And literally, like, she comes out, she's all, "Did you just get sponsored by High Chews?"
I want to ask the same thing, you weirdo.
And I'm telling you, it is the perfect thing for my pool room. It's awesome. Like, everybody knows that I love High Chews. And I'm letting you know right now, I'm going to be posting a picture online on my fan page, and I'm letting you know this is the big purchase that was made yesterday. I got a hell of a deal. Fry's here in Phoenix and Avondale on Dicer and I-10 took care of me, and they let me buy something that is never supposed to be purchased.
This is my co-host, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, you have.
Basically, what he's done is bought a display case, so when Gomez and the rest of the crew come over to his house, they can just pick out what they need. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Like I said, Nick will be heading over to Morgan City, Louisiana to participate in the Cajun Coast Classic, which has a cap of, I believe, 64 players. It's a small pool room. Mostly it's an entertainment area. It's more like a sports bar with a small dance floor in the front, and then they convert it into a tournament area. So he's going to have a lot of fun. By the way, Jason spoils people. Best food ever.
I can't wait to try it.
Best food ever. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us tonight, and a huge shout out to Miss Sandra Stevens for coming on and giving us her opinion and a little background on her experience in the pool industry on the one pocket side, because you don't hear a lot of the women playing one pocket. I'm sure they do, but like she said, they don't really mention it. And Smear says, thank you for answering my questions. Hey, anytime, no sir.
Yeah,
that's what we're here for.
Yeah, you can send either one of us a Facebook message, and we have no problem answering whatever you guys need. I will find out more about the 4-inch pockets. I heard last year that they were supposed to switch everything since they switched Mosconi Cup to 4-inch pockets, but I'll let you know.
Okay, thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. So we're going to let Nick run. He's got a lesson that he needs to give. We got to put money in Nick's pocket since he already spent all of his money on a high Tuesday.
It is wife approved, Dory approved. It adds color to the pool room.
I'm gonna have to get you a big one of those signs, you know, that lights up that says hygiene.
Oh, I'd be all over it. Yes. And I'm gonna have to send them an email, and I'm gonna have to show you how diehard I am, and I can possibly get a patch with your pool patch. Yes, we're gonna get it.
Anyway, guys, this is my name is Tracy, and I work for Inside Pool Magazine. They call me the Diva.
I am Nicholas DeLeon with Inside Pool Magazine, and they call me Nikon Kid plus High Shoes.
And together, we're Billiard Talk. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. Have a good one,
guys. Thank you.